Right. So we will discuss about the different mobile platforms that we can use for developing mobile apps. Okay. So the main platforms that we can use are basically the Android platform, right? The Android platform and the iOS platform, right? So Android applications, I mean, Android operating system uh, and the mobile app development can be done from the Android operating system. And this Android operating system was developed by the Google. Android was developed by Google. And it has a wide range of devices that use the Android OS system, right? There are a wide range of devices that use Android OS systems, as we discussed before. Smartphones, tablets, smart watches, so on, and there are many other devices that can integrate the Android OS system, operating system. The Android operating system has been developed. Has been developed, and we can develop apps. We can develop apps using the. We can develop apps using Java or Kotlin languages. We can use Java and Kotlin languages to develop apps in the Android, and then we can download those apps using the Google Play Store. We can download the apps using Google Play Store, and we can use those apps. In contrast, the iOS, which is developed by the Apple company, can only be used in specific devices, compatible with specific devices only. Such as iPhone, iPad, iPod, likewise. We can also, we can also identify some programming languages which are specific to iOS app development. So when we talk about the app development, we can develop the apps using as I said before, Objective-C language and Swift language. We can download it through the Apple App Store. So we can download from the Apple App Store. We can download the apps. So basically, those are the main two operating systems that on which we can develop the apps. We can develop apps on either Android or iOS systems. Okay, so Android system is what we are going to talk first. We will talk about Android and then we will talk about the iOS. Okay. you have any questions, please let me know. So, as I said before, we'll be discussing about the Android first. We'll be talking about the Android operating system and its features. So, what is Android? So, it is an operating system. It is an operating system that has been developed. It has been an operating system developed by the Google. And it has been released first. It has been released first in 2008. It has been released first in 2008, and then it is an open source. It is an open source, uh, operating system. That means like the operating system source code is freely available. The operating system source code is freely available. And anybody uh, who wants to develop their own operating system for a mobile device, they can do that by adjusting the source code for the Android, and they can develop their own, I mean, their own system, and they can develop some new operating system for a mobile device. So that is the most important thing in this open source uh, uh, files and systems. So Android is an open source operating system. Its source code is freely available, and anybody can access it and use it for their own users. However, like when we talk about Apple iOS, right? When we talk about the Apple iOS, it is not uh, open source. Apple iOS is not open source, and therefore not freely available to people. It is not fully freely available. Some like functions are still, specific to the Apple or iOS, and uh, the operating system source files are not published out in the public. So uh, therefore, like it is hard to access the Apple iOS. Apple iOS source files. However, Android ones are easy to be accessed, and it is widely available in the world. The Android operating system is based on Linux systems, right? It has been developed based on the Linux operating system, right? So the Linux OS has been the base of Android operating system. And since Linux is a lightweight operating system, it has been, I think, it has been useful to develop the Android OS system, which is also some kind of a lightweight OS system. Um, so the apps, right? The apps that we can develop on Android can be developed using the languages, as I said, using Java and Kotlin basically, and we will be discussing about those two languages basically. So Android OS is one of the most used OS in the world. It is one of the most dominant operating systems in the world. It is most dominant OS in the world, with many users using that. So more than 2 billion people use that per month. So I mean 2 billion active users per month. There are 2 billion active users per month who use the Android operating system. So when we compare it with the Apple OS, when we compare with the Apple iOS is used by millions of people. It is also used by many people, but like it is used by millions of people, whereas Android is used by billions of people. Therefore, the usage of Android applications are said to be higher than the Apple applications. So when we talk about the usage of these apps in the Google Play Store, where we use the Android applications, right? Where we can find the Android applications, it is said that there are about 2.9 million apps available. There are 2.9 million apps available in the Google Play Store, right? So this much of apps are available in the Google Play Store, and that is a huge amount, right? So when we talk about the history of the Android development, or history of the Android, let's focus on Android, history of Android, history of Android OS. We will discuss about the history now. So when we talk about the timeline, we can say that in 2007, the Apple iOS, the Apple company released its operating system in 2007. So, right, Apple iOS was released, and during that time, the Android iOS was also ready to be released, but they have not released it, mainly because they were afraid that their products will not sell, because the Apple iOS was very very powerful, and it worked really well with the devices, and it had much more interesting features, that it became very popular among the people. So as you know, like Apple phones are very fluid, right? So uh, Apple phones have really very fluid mobile apps working in them, and therefore like those apps, their functions, their performance were very fluid, right? Very fluid and very clean, and very flexible performance with our touch, and therefore it provided the exact experience that the users wanted. So it exceeded the user experience, and it became really popular during that 2007 time period, right? Therefore, the Android people, they was thinking, okay, we are not going to release it in 2007, but we are going to release it in the next year. Likewise, it has released its first version. Android first version was released in 2008. And in 2008, the first version was released. However, like it was not a very popular option. Was not that it did not become popular. It did not become popular, and it had some, problems with its performance. However, like it tried to improve its performance by publishing or releasing. It tried to improve its performance by releasing a version of the Android every year. Releasing a version of the Android every year, right? It released a version of the Android every year since 2008, right? So we have new versions every year. So we were able to see versions like after 2008, we were able to see versions coming every year, and all those versions had some nicknames, right? Some nicknames which indicated uh, like a desert name. Anyway, so there were releases uh, in every year after 2008, and in the year of 2014 they were able to make a major breakthrough in its performance, and give a really good experience to the users through its performance. And afterwards it has now come to places where it is releasing its Android versions. Now we are currently in 2023, and we are now having Android version 14 released in February 2023. So Android 14 is known to be the most recent Android version, and it is known with the nickname Upside Down Cake, right? It is known with the name Upside Down Cake, and uh, it is the most recent Android version under Android OS system. So it has been released in 2023. So likewise, Android has released multiple versions of its operating system. It has tried to release a version every single year, and by doing that, they have tried to increase their performance in terms of its facilities, its in terms of its features, and in terms of user experience. And it has tried to improve its performance every single year. So what is the difference that they have made in 2014? Right? What is the difference they have made in 2014? So in 2014, they have tried to bring a new features to the Android system. So in terms of basically the app, the design, okay, the design, in terms of the design of um, the operating system, and how they have also defined how the apps should be defined. They have defined the standards for the app, for the apps, for app for apps. They have defined the standards for the apps and their design. And then we can see that in that release they have focused on the navigation between different screens. So the navigation between different screens had been fluid, and the animations have been added. Animations have been added to the design as well. So these kind of features have made it kind of special in the Android 14th release. They have added different standards for the design. They have added standards for the navigation between screens and standards for the animations, so that every uh, Android app will have the same, same standard followed. And like two different apps will not have like drastic differences, and they will all function in the same way. And it will enable the different mobile devices also to easily use these applications. Apart from that, in terms of the runtime, has also been faster than before, and it has been very fast. It has a faster boot time. It easily boots up. And then also the performance, the faster performance, right? Faster performance. So due to this, efficiency, it has got very popular. So in the market, right? So people love to have applications that work really fast without getting stuck and without getting any glitches in between. They want smooth navigation and performance, and they expect smooth transitions when we are using the apps. So the apps must be very fluid. So that feature has been enabled from Android 14 version, starting from Android 14 version. And now I think the apps are working a little bit, very, very well when compared to the earlier versions of apps, where the apps were very slow to our actions and our input. So anyway, currently Android based OS, Android based smartphones are popular in the world. So there are very popular Android based smartphones like right, there are many popular Android based smartphones such as Samsung S20, or these are one of the latest smartphones. And then Google Pixel. So Google Pixel is a phone that has fluid performance, and it is almost like like a uh, like a iPhone, I would say. However, it is a little bit different to iPhone. However, Google Pixel has very good performance and very popular among the people, so that you don't feel that there's something missing. Even if you don't have money to buy an iPhone, you can still buy a Google Pixel. I think even that is kind of expensive, but I think like we can buy low price, cheaper devices under Android, and experience the same performance with these Android releases. So therefore, now we have come to a very good situation, or a time where Android is as popular as iOS. And Android is freely accessible to a lot of people in the world. And therefore, I think Android is something that people can easily access and use for their own applications and uses. And therefore, uh, it is widely used in many places. And because of that, the demand for such Android based systems also has increased, not only because it's freely accessible, but also because it is performing very well in comparison to Apple iOS. So when we talk about uh, the other devices that use Android, Right? There are many devices that use Android. As I said before, there are many devices that use Android, and many devices are already in the market. There are many Android devices that are used, such as the Android watches, I would say, right? Android-based watches are there. We call it as Wear OS based devices, such as watches, OS-based devices, Wear OS or Wear operating system. So the devices which we can wear and which uses these operating systems we call as Wear OS. So watches and other wearable items with these operating systems, mobile operating systems, we can name I mean several in the current world. So we have watches and related accessories. We also have the Android TV. So Android TV also has the functionality of working like an Android phone. We can install different applications into the Android TV, and we can get different services from those apps. We can go to internet, we can access resources from there, we can use any other kind of applications, we can play games, so on and so on. Then we also have the Android Auto, which can be used in um, vehicle dashboards, uh, so that we can use those kind of Android Auto systems to uh, use the use different applications that are required for our for our different uh, for our different use cases, for entertainment, and for knowing the vehicle speed and so on, vehicle status and so on. So we can get to know the status of the vehicle in terms of uh, features like fuel consumption. We can get to know the fuel consumption, and we can get to know the speed of the vehicle and so on, and then location of the vehicle. Those kind of things we can get to know from the apps that are available in the vehicle dashboards, and those apps can be developed using the Android systems. And then what is the important thing about knowing these kind of uh, why do we need to know these Android based development, or why do we need to know how to do this app development, right? Why do we need to know this app development? So right, so familiarity with this app development enable us to compare and contrast with the existing approaches. Okay, so once we get to know how to develop applications using Android systems, for example, we can compare our performance, our Android apps performance with the existing apps which are available in Apple Store and so on. Secondly, uh, we can also uh, we can also access the applications free of charge. I mean, we can buy or we can download the applications for a lower price. So these are free or cheap. The applications are free or cheap, and therefore people are able to access the applications very easily. So these days, it is very easy to access an application, which makes it very popular. Thirdly, we also have many job opportunities still available, many job opportunities that are available for us that enable us to uh, create apps for different applications, for different applications. So when we take different industries, there are many industries that do not have their own mobile application, right? They do not have their own mobile app. So as an initial step, we can ask from them, do you need a mobile app? Right? And then we can build applications for their needs. So from that, we can get an income. So likewise, these mobile applications development create new opportunities for many people. You can help others start their own business, or you can start your own business and you can create an app for that business. So with that, I think we can actually build a revenue for ourselves, and also we can get a good demanding skill that can attract jobs to us. So that is, I think, one of the most important things about the app development. So, right. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Right. So I will discuss about the next thing. What are the main softwares that we need? What are the softwares that we need in this class? Right? What are the softwares we need in this class? So basically, we will be using the Android Studio first to build Android apps, right? So we'll be developing apps in the Android Studio using the Android Studio, and therefore we need to download and install it, right? So I will share with you the link to download and install the Android Studio if you don't already have it. Do you already have the Android Studio with you? Right? So you can access the link that I give in the chat, or else you can search in the Google and then you can download the Android Studio using that link. So the instructions are given in this link. In the instructions, you can find the link as well to download the Android Studio. So anyway, I will share the links that will be useful for the downloading. Right? So what you need to do is you need to go to that instructions page and follow the instructions that are given in that page. And it gives all the necessary information from top to bottom. So I also must mention that it gives instructions for any operating system such as Windows, Mac OS, Linux, right? Whatever the operating system you use, I believe you can use the any one of these installation methods. If either Windows, Mac OS, Linux, whatever, you can use all these operating systems, any of these operating systems, and whatever the operating system, the instructions are available. So if you are using Windows, you can follow this method. You need to go to this link and download the application through that. So the software, you need to download this IDE, right, or the integrated development environment for the app development, right? So the integrated development environment, or IDE, is the Android Studio, and we need this to develop our apps. So you need to download. You can download using this link, right? And you can accept these conditions, and you can download the latest version that is given in this link, and then you can download it for your operating system, right? So once you have clicked on those, you will get these dialogues. You need to go through those sections, then you have to install it, and you have to wait until it is installed. So you just need to follow these steps and come to the point where you can see this screen, where you can see welcome to Android Studio, and you can create a new project. So you have to do until this point. Then afterwards we can build our sample application, right? So I think uh, if you're okay, we can actually do this application development or testing of that application development in the interactive class, if you're okay with it. So we have the interactive class on Friday from 10 to 11. You can come to that, and then we can discuss about that application development part. So in that, actually, we will look into different components of the application development user interface as well. So right, so I think it's very simple to test out the first application in the Android Studio, and we can easily obtain the application working within a few minutes, or very easily. So anyway, like once you I will show you like my like interface, or just my software that I use in my my computer. After downloading the Android Studio, I go to basically new project, and then I can create a new project using the options here. So as a startup, at the starting level, I will go to empty views activity, and I will go to next, and then I will put some kind of a name for my application. It could be any name. I will say ABC, something like that. And then I will choose my language. I will keep it as, I could keep it as Java. And then I need to make sure that I select a certain API level for this minimum SDK, right? So minimum SDK must be something uh, that that is kind of uh, low, right? So in here we will select 26, and then once we have selected those things, I think basically the API level, and we have given the name, we will go to finish. Once we have gone to finish, we will be left with a window, a new window, right? I'm sorry, earlier I already had a window. I will close it. I will close those windows, and I will share the new window. So once I go to this new project that I have created, it takes some time for all these features of the project to appear here. So there are different sections to the Android Studio user interface, and you can see the directory of all the files in the left corner of the user interface. In this middle section or in the center stage, you can see the codes of the codes of the of the application, right? There are two types of codes, basically the Java code and the XML code, right? So once we are actually choosing the language, we can choose either Java or Kotlin. So I think if you can remember, I have kept the language as Java. When I selected the main project, sorry, when I created the new project just now, I have kept the language as Java. So it has remained as Java here, and the format of the project is in Java. So the programming language here will be in Java, and there's another file called XML file, and XML file is the file which gives us the design of the application user interface, right? So I will shut down this directory file, and now I will like zoom this out, and in here I can directly go to the design, and I can like adjust whatever the text available in here. I can say something else, right? I can say development mobile app development at SLTC, and it will appear in here, right? I can do many changes such as that in this text view, and in this attributes pane on the right side. So I can go down and I can do any changes to the text format, and I can change the colors of the text and so on. So once you go there, you will be able to see it, right? And you can also set the margins for the for the for this text to appear, and you can define them very neatly. So anyway, now if I want to change the font size and the font colors, that also I can do, right? So we can see about that. Apart from that, we can also give like a image to the background of this interface. So if I want to go to that, I can go to, for example, if I want to add a like a image, I can add that as well. So I can add some image to the drawable or drawable file. I can bring in some kind of image from an image that I already have in the desktop, and I can include that in the directory. So I will try to find that. I will try to, yeah, I will try to get some kind of a image. Right, I just need to select the image from my desktop, and I need to copy it, and I need to paste it in here. So I will go to drawable. I got some image from my desktop, and I'm going to paste it in here, and they will ask like what is the name that they need to put in the image. I will say it is Christmas, and then I have my image in this directory, right? I just basically got that image from another place and from my desktop, and I just pasted in here. So we can include this image inside this interface by adjusting the code sufficiently in this place, right? So once we want to put an image, right, we need to adjust the code in here, right? So we need to add some code lines in here to add that image. So the we need to give the wait. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Yeah. So we need to give a certain command that gives us this image at the background of the of the design. So we need to give this command, which is Android background at drawable, and then we need to give the name of the image. So if there's some kind of a error, it appears there, and I think there is some kind of a error currently. So anyway, they cannot find the image Christmas, they're saying. So I will try to get it somehow. Right? Yeah. So now I think it's okay. And now I need to see the design here. So this is the design, right? So I have put this image that I had in the desktop into this. However, like that image is not that, fitting this interface, the screen much, because the mobile phone's dimensions are like that, right? So anyway, I will try to uh, I will try to get I will try to anyway try to get it working in the in the uh, in the smartphone emulator, which we will discuss about in the interactive class. So I will just, for the moment, I will run this code and I will check its output. Okay. The output should appear, right? Output should appear. We need to check whether the code has run or not, right? If there are some errors, the errors will appear here. Currently, I think there are no errors. And if there are any problems, we can see it. So we can go and we can see whether there are some problems in the code that we have run. Yeah, so there is some issue, right? So, right, so there's some issue here, right? So one issue that they are basically saying is that the application is compiled against Android 33. However, the the project needs to be updated so that the application can be run at least in 34 level. So uh, basically we will talk about this error in the next class. This is something that is they're very useful to understand, because now when we are developing applications, we need to develop applications up to a certain API level. If we don't, if we if we don't consider that API level, then sometimes our application cannot be run in mobile phones which are released very recently, and therefore it is not useful for such phones. We need to develop the application that can be run in many API levels, or the many Android levels. Different like different Android phones have different Android levels, right? And therefore Android versions, I would say. So they have different Android versions. So in order to be compatible with those Android versions, we need to provide the API that suits that specific Android version, right? And if our application if our API is not up to that standard, then we need to design our application so that we are able to work with that API level 34 or 35 or like that. So this error says that this application needs to be updated such that the API 34 can be used. So if you want to update that, we can go to the directory file. We can check what is the application, what is the API level that we have set in the source files. So we have set 33 here. So that is the problem now we are facing. We want to make it 34. So once we want to make it 34, we can do that by changing the API levels in the other source files. So I will just mention, we can change the value of the API, the target SDK API to 34, and the compile SDK value to 34, and then we can put that value as the final value, and we can sync it with the other rest of the systems, right? So this will take some time to be integrated into the Android Studio. And once you have integrated that, then you have to restart this Android Studio, and then you can again run your previous code, and then we can see whether an error is appearing or not. And then once, if all goes well, if you can run the code, then you must be able to see the application that you have developed from the code. It should appear, right? So now, anyway, I will try to run it. I will try to show you something that comes out of this application development, right? Yeah, so I hope you can see this. This is the emulator, or the emulation of the application. We can virtually see the application that we have developed here. So in here we can see, we can try to select different options. Yeah. So see, we have different faces, right? Different windows here. So these are like some previous things that I have had in my workspace. So those are also shown here. I can delete those previous ones, and I can only be left alone with this mobile application development at SLTC. So I think the background image that I have put is not appearing still, right? Maybe there's some error. So this is a previous version of previous version of a screen that I have just run, and in the background I have put a image, and I have added, like, I have increased the font sizes of the text, and I have updated the text. So we can do such designs, and we can design it according to our need. So using this mobile emulator, we can visualize our application easily without even having an Android phone. If you don't have Android phone, it is okay. You can see its functions without an Android phone, right? I think I was not sharing the you know I think I was not sharing the yeah I was not sharing the app view of the um, app properly to you. Sorry about that. So this is what I was showing others. I mean, this was what I was showing before. So this is one of the applications that I have been running previously. And in that, I have included the background image of these trees. I have updated the text files as I require, and this is what I can obtain. So likewise, you also can include pictures, text, different texts into this user interface. We will also be adding more functions to this user interface in the next coming classes. And by doing that, we can build our application from like in little steps, and then we will be able to deliver some service from our application. So you can use this mobile emulator to emulate or visualize the performance of our application without even having an Android phone. So with that, I would like to end today's lesson. I think we have discussed small things, and I think with that, I think we can start the interactive session in the next class. So if you have any questions, you can let me know.